Hello everyone, welcome to lesson 7. Alright, so in the previous lesson, lesson 6, I've introduced you a function. What does it mean by the function? Okay, and a few terms that we need to know. Okay, right, I brief a bit and recap a bit of what function is. Okay, so function is a relation from input to exactly one output. Alright, so we have input, we have output, and we know what is object and we know what is image. Okay, object is basically one of the input, and image is the output of the object that you insert to the function. Okay, just like this machine. Okay, this machine generates times 2 from the input, and it gives you a 4 as your output, right? Okay, so object 2 map onto image 4, we can say that, right? And function can be denoted in this way, can be written in a simple way like this. Okay, f of x is 2x. Okay, we read it as f of x is 2x. Okay, or not only 2x, you can have a lot of expression. Okay, example, f2x can be x squared or x squared plus 3. Okay, not only f, we can also use other alphabet like g, function of g, let's say. Okay, function of g, so g of x can be equals to let's say x cubed. Okay, minus 3, or it can be as complicated as this form. Alright, okay, it can be written also in this way, f dot dot x, and then with the arrow is basically the same as the first one that I've written down just now, right? Okay, so we know that x here is the object, okay, that we put in to the function, and we put in to the x, and we generate an answer. Okay, and that answer we call as image. Okay, or we call it output. Okay, input and output. Okay. As for domain is the set of objects. Okay, it's a set of the objects, set of the inputs, right? And the range is a set of images. Okay, or the set of outputs. All right. Okay, so we have learned this also, type of relation. There are 4 types of relation. Okay, but the one that called function are only two types of relation, which is one-to-one and many-to-one. Okay, which has only one output. Okay, which gives you an output only. So many-to-many and one-to-many are not called function. Okay, they are only relation but not function. Okay, so to understand more on function, okay, today I will cover the questions that I have asked you to try it out. Question number 1 until question 4 in exercise 3.1. Okay, exercise 3.1, which is in question 7, page 72. Question number 1 until question number 4. Okay, in my previous lesson that I asked you to try it out. I will discuss with you one by one. Okay. Alright. Question number 1. A function y is given as y equals to 4x minus 3. Okay. So this equation here is a function. Okay. They already mentioned here that it's a function. Okay. Can be written as this way. Okay. So we can write down our function in many ways. We can write down as y equals to 4x minus 3. We can write down as f of x equals to 4x minus 3. Okay, it's actually the same. Okay, it's just that it's in this equation it's a function. Okay, find the value of y if x is 3. Okay, so this one is easy. It's just that if your x is 3, so when your x is 3, okay, your y is, you just sub in, so it's this 3 is just like your input. Okay, you put in 3, and this function will generate an answer, which is 4 times 3 minus 3, it gives you 9. Okay, so the output is 9. Okay, so 3 is your input and 9 is your output, or I can say that 3 is my object and my image of 3 is 9. Okay, is that clear? Okay. Part B. Okay, so when x is 7, okay, we can find our y. Okay, we sub into 7 into the x, and it will generate an answer, which is your output, and it's 25. Okay, and when x equals to 7, your y is 25. So your object is 7. The image of object 7 is 25. Right? Okay, so this is obviously a function because it gives you only an output. Okay, please take note again. Function, it gives you only an output. It won't give you two answers. Okay, it won't give you two outputs or many outputs. It will give you only one output here. Right? Okay, so that's for question number 1. It's a very direct question. Okay, question 2. A function f is defined by, okay, so when we see this in this form, okay, don't be afraid. You can always change this to f bracket x, or f of x equals to x squared plus 3. Okay. So for the domain, okay, so domain, we have a domain. This domain is a set of objects. Okay, I write down the definition of domain again. It's a set of objects. Okay, objects is what again? Is input. Okay, it's your input, alright? So we have 3 inputs here, or we have 3 objects here. Find the range of f. So what is range again? A set of image. A set of images. Okay, so we need to find the images of all these objects. Okay, so it's not only a set of images, it can be said that it's a set of outputs. And we are given this function here, or the equation, this one. Okay, we sub in the x value or the objects. Okay, so how do we actually write it down? Okay, so f of x, since is equals to x squared plus 3, so when we sub in -1, we can actually write like this. F of -1, it means that your input is -1, and you put into this function. Okay, just like I say, you put into the machine and it will generate an output. Okay, let's see what is the output. You sub in -1 into your x. So it's -1, don't forget your bracket, square plus 3. So it gives you 1 plus 3, positive 1 plus 3, which is 4. Okay, so f of -1 is 4. Okay, so it means that -1 here is your input and 4 here is your output. Or I can say this is your object and this is your image. Okay, and let's look at other set of objects. Okay, we have already done the -1. We sub in the 2. Okay, we sub in the 2. So we have f of 2. Okay, we sub in into the function. Okay, so this one we don't need a bracket, or if you put a bracket, nothing wrong. Okay, because there's no negative, so it's okay to not putting any bracket. Okay, 2 squared plus 3, 4 plus 3 is 7. Okay, so f of 2 is 7. Okay, and this is your object 2, and this is your image 7. Okay, and you have the last one, which is 6. Okay, so you sub in 6. F of 6 is equals to 6 squared plus 3, which is 36 plus 3, and it gives you 39. So f of 6 is 39. Okay, so I highlight this part again. F of -1 is 4, f of 2 is 7, f of 6 is 39. Okay, so we have all the images already, which is 4, 7, and 39. So they're asking you to find the range of f. So the range of f, it means the set of the images of the domain that is given here. Okay, so our range here, according to what we have subbed in, we list down all the outputs, or we list down all the images, which is 4, 7, and 39. Okay, so this is my answer of the range. Okay, is that clear? Okay. So we have question 3. Okay, if you want to rewind this one and watch again to listen to the explanation again, please go ahead. Okay. Right, question number 3. A function h, okay, it's a function. Okay, it's obviously it's a function which gives you only one output. Okay, it's given as, okay, don't be afraid to see this dot dot and this arrow thing. Just change it to f of x equals to 8 minus x squared. It's the same. Okay. For the domain, okay, this is the set of object. Okay, the set of objects. We have 5 objects here, right? Draw an arrow diagram to show the mapping. Okay, we need to draw an arrow diagram. Okay, what is arrow diagram again? Arrow diagram is something like this. Okay, with arrows. Okay, with your input on the left side and output on the right side. Left side is your objects, or we call inputs, and your right side is all your images. Okay, but in this question we are only given domain, we are not given range. Okay, we are only given a set of objects. Okay, these are your objects. Okay, set of objects, but we don't have a set of images, okay, to put on our right side. Okay, so we need to find the set of images, which is the range. Okay, we need to find out all the images first before we can draw the diagram. Okay, so part A, we list down all the images of the objects. Okay, this time it's not f but it's h. Okay, it's the same thing. So h of x is already given, 8 minus x squared, so we sub in -2. Okay, our object is -2, so we generate the answer by sub into our function. Okay, 8 minus -2 squared. Don't forget your bracket because it involves a negative. Okay, and we find out what is our image for -2. Right, so it's 8 minus 4. Okay, please do the square first before you times with the negative. Before you include the negative. Okay, -2 squared become positive 4. Okay, so 8 minus 4 is 4. So h of -2 is 4. Okay, h of -2 is 4. Okay, we sub in again another one. So h of -1, 8 minus -1 squared. Okay, please take note that we are sub into this function here, 8 minus x squared, right? So but it will become 8 minus -1 squared is 1, so it's 7. Okay, so h of -1 is 7. Okay, then h of 1, 8 minus 1 squared, okay, is equals to 8 minus 1, which is 7. Also a 7. H of 1 is also a 7. Okay, and we have a object of 2 as well. Okay, we already sub in -2, -1, 1, and now it's 2. So 8 minus 2 squared is 8 minus 4, which is also 4, same with the -2. So h of 2 is 4. And we sub in the last one, which is 3, the object 3. 8 minus 3 squared is 8 minus 9, which is -1. So function h of 3 is -1. So we have all our images already. So we have a set of images which is called range. Alright, we have our domain, we have our range, and now we can draw our arrow diagram. Okay, I will draw my arrow diagram here. Okay, so first of all, we know that this function is function h. Okay, we draw arrow function h. Okay, this function of h, or h of x, okay, it's the same, will gives you output when we sub into 8 minus x squared from x.
Bingo!
Okay, so object here is x, and your image here is 8 minus x squared, right? So we need to list down the set of objects, which is also the domain. Don't forget your domain is on your left side. Here is this domain, and your right side is the range. Okay, it's not necessary to write down the domain and range here. Okay, so object of negative 2 maps onto image 4. Okay, from the first one here. Okay, object of negative 2 map onto image 4. Okay. Okay, how about the second one? Object of negative 1 map onto image of 7. Okay, so 7 here. So we draw the arrow, negative 1 map onto 7. Okay, the third one here. The object of 1 map onto image 7. Okay, the object of 1 map into 7, and we already have 7 on under the output, so we don't need to write again 7. We just need to map we put our arrow and map towards 7. Okay, the same 7, right? And the fourth one here, h of 2 is 4. So a new one, 2, map onto 4. Do we have 4 on the range side? Yes, we have. So we just need to draw the arrow, map onto 4. Arrow. Okay, and the last one, h of 3. Okay, we have a 3 as object, and the image is negative 1. Okay, so we have a new one, negative 1, and we map to the image of negative 1. Okay, you can double check your answer again. H of negative 2 is 4, it's correct. Okay, h of negative 2 is 4, yes. H of negative 1 is 7, yes. H of 1 is also 7. H of 2 is 4. H of 3 is negative 1. Okay, so this arrow diagram is correct. Okay, so we have done our part A. Now part B. What type of function is h? Okay, type of function is already mentioned is a function. So the relation we can cut down into, instead of 4 relation, we have 2. It's either 1 to 1 or many to 1. Okay, so let's look back at this arrow diagram again. Okay, we know that negative 2 and 2, okay, we have 2 objects here, negative 2 and 2, map onto the same image, map onto the same output, which is 4. Okay, and we have negative 1 and 2, negative 1 and 1 map onto 7, the same 7. So we can know that this is called many to 1. Okay, all these inputs here come from multiple outputs. I repeat again. We can see that these outputs here, outputs for negative 7, okay, comes from multiple inputs. Okay, multiple inputs. So we can note that this is called many to 1 function. Okay, it's a function. We can write as function. Okay, this type of relation or this type of function is many to 1 function. Okay, so we have done question number 3. Now we go to question number 4. Okay, so the arrow diagram shows part of the function. Okay, this is also a function. Okay, my question here is, do you know what type of function is this? Okay, we will go back to that question in part B. Okay, it's very obvious the type of function here. Okay, we go to A first. Find the values of A, B, and C. Okay, so again, this is objects, a set of objects, which is the domain, and this is our set of images. Okay, which we call it as range. Okay, we call it as range, and we call it as domain or input output. Okay, so the object of 10 gives you image of A, so it's mapped onto A. Okay, And we can write this down as in this way, okay? Object of 10, which is, okay, function of g, okay, we can write as this way, g of 10 is a. Okay, g of 10 is a. Okay, remember this is your object and this is your image. Object or input, and this is image, your output. Okay, so we can write in this way. Okay, g of 10 is a. Okay, I'll write at there. Okay, so g of 10 is a. How about the second one? G of c is 2c. And g of negative 6 is b. Okay, and don't forget that the function g is x plus 4. Okay, this is an expression x plus 4, which is a function, which means that when we sub in our 10 into the x, it will give you an output or give you an image of a. Okay, so we start off with g of 10 is a, right? So g of 10, it means that we sub in g of 10 when we sub into the function, which is x plus 4 and which is 10 plus 4. Okay, 10 plus 4 comes from x plus 4, we sub into the x, it gives you a. Okay, so we can know that our a now is 10 plus 4. Okay, so a is 10 plus 4, which is 14. So 14 is a plus is equals to a. Okay, so that is your answer. So a is equals to 14. So this one we don't need to write it down. Okay, it basically means that when you sub in your x equals to 10, okay, it literally means when x is 10, you sub in into the function. Okay, it literally means this. Okay, so the next one, okay, g of c is 2c. So meaning to say that this c we sub into the function of x plus 4, x will become c, then plus 4. Okay, and it generates and gives you an output which is 2c. Okay, so your input is c, you put into the machine or the function. Okay, we put into this c, we sub into the x here, and it gives you 2c. Okay, it means that. So now we can solve our c. Okay, just look at this part only. Okay, as I say, this part, it means when x equals to c. Okay, when x equals to c. So c plus 4 equals to 2c. So 2c minus c equals to 4. We move our c to the other side, become minus. So 2c minus c is c equals to 4. Okay, so c equals to 4. Okay, and the last one, g of negative 6 equals to b. Okay, so g of negative 6 is equals to b. Okay, I will write down at the bottom here. G of negative 6. Okay, so you sub into the x, which is negative 6 plus 4. Okay, again, this negative 6, you sub into the x and it gives you a b. Okay, so negative 6 plus 4 is equals to b. Your image is b. Okay, so negative 6 plus 4 is negative 2, which is equals to your b. So b is negative 2. So we have found our answer for A. Find the values of A, B, and C according to the object and image here. Okay, so A is 14, B is negative 2, and C is 4. Okay, so we have done our A. And now part B. What type of function is G? Again, it's already mentioned here is a function, so it's either 1-to-1 or many-to-1, right? As long as your output is only 1. And this function here, the relation here we can see is obviously a 1-to-1 function. Okay, so we have discussed all question number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now let's go to try it 3. Try it 3. So a function g, okay, is defined by g of x equals to px plus q, okay, where p and q are constants. Okay, now we have a lot of unknowns here. We have p, we have x, we have q, but p and q are constants. Okay, it is known that, okay, we have another key point here. G of -1 is -4, and g of 4 is 16. Okay, so find the values of p and q. Okay, we'll do part A first. So it means that this part, g of -1 equals to -4. It means that your input is -1, or your object is -1, and you sub into the function of px plus q, which is already given, px plus q, and it will generate and give you an output or your image, which is -4. Okay, so we sub in -1 into our x. Okay, so it will become, okay, so p -1, you sub in -1 plus q, and it gives you a -4. Okay, so object here, and this is your image. Okay, your object is your x. Okay, you sub in the -1 into the x, and it will give you an image of -4. Okay, let's simplify this one. -1 times p is -p plus q, and is equals to -4. Okay, we cannot solve this yet because we have two unknowns, p and q. Okay, so we just leave this as it is first, and we see the next information they have given to us, which is g of 4 is equals to 16. Okay, g of 4 is equals to 16. Means that we sub in the 4 into our x, so p times 4, which is x, plus q equals to image 16. Okay, so your object is 4, and your image is 16. Okay, understand? So we simplify this one, become 4p plus q equals to 16. Now this equation we got here, we cannot solve the p and q also because we have two unknowns. But we have the first equation here. Okay, we have our first equation here, which is -p plus q equals to -4. And we have our second equation here, 4p plus q equals to 16. And we solve this using either substitution method or elimination method. Okay, we have to do simultaneous equation. Okay, do the simultaneous equation, either elimination or substitution, which you have learned in year 8. Okay, so I will do elimination method. I'll be using elimination method. Okay, so I'll write down in this way, -p plus q equals to -4, your first equation, and 4p plus q equals to 16, which is your second equation. Okay, I'm just basically just copy it down, first and second equation, and we are going to solve this using elimination method. Okay, so which one are we going to eliminate? Either p or q, correct? Okay, we already have q here, the same thing, q, both also q, so we can eliminate this q by minus them. Okay, we minus the first equation to the second equation. So first equation minus the second equation. Okay, let's look at it in a vertical way. Okay, so -p minus 4p. Okay, in a vertical way, as in -p minus 4p. So q plus q is already eliminated. Okay, q minus q is already eliminated, which is 0, so we don't write it down, and is equals to -4 minus 16. Okay, -4 minus 16. So from here we can find our p. -p minus 4p is -5p, equals to -4 minus 16 is -20. And our p is -20 divided by -5. We move to the right side, become divide. So p is equals to 4. Okay, we found our first unknown, P is 4. Now we have to sub in 4 into one of the equation to find Q. Okay, so I continue here. So next is sub P equals to 4 into let's say the first equation. Either equation will give you the same answer. Okay, so the first equation is negative P plus Q equals to negative 4. So negative P will become negative 4 plus Q equals to negative 4. Okay, according to the first equation here. Alright, the first equation here. Okay, the first equation here. Okay, so find Q. Negative 4 plus 4. We move the negative 4 to that side, become plus. So Q is equals to 0. Therefore, we got our two answers here. The value of P is 4 and the value of Q is 0. Alright, so we go to part B. Part B, hence evaluate G of 8. Okay, so we have our object here. Our object is 8. So we need to sub in to the function and it will generate an answer for you. Okay, which they want you to evaluate, means that they want you to find the answer or they want you to find the output, okay, or the image of object 8. Okay, so since we already found our P and Q, okay, our function of G of X is Px plus Q, right? Okay, so our P is already found, which is P4x plus Q, which is 0. So basically plus 0 I don't need to write because it will still be nothing. Okay, so your G of X is 4x. Okay, I'll write it here, no space. So we can find G of 8 by substituting into the X here. 4 times 8, sub into the function, and it generates and gives you answer of 32. Okay, so G of 8 is 32. Okay, we have done our try 3. Okay, so this try 3 is on page 71. Okay, we go to the last question which I want to discuss with you today. Okay, before we end our lesson 7. Okay, we go to question number 10. This question number 10 comes from page 73, exercise 3.1. Okay, please take note that all this that we have discussed must be in your notebook. Okay, copy all the questions and the solutions as well. Okay, and the solution, make sure all the answers are correct compared with mine. Okay, it's not necessary for you to have the same working as mine. Okay, it's better if you try to do it by your own, in your own way, and you check your answer. Okay, and when school reopen, I will check your working. Okay, we go to question number 10. Okay, a function h is given as, okay, it's already given function of h, which is 2x minus 5. Find in terms of m. Okay, in terms of m means that your answer must have m. Okay, must got this m in your answer. Okay, so find in terms of m. So your answer is not only numbers but with m. Okay, the expressions of h of m plus 2. Okay, I'll show you a first part. H of m plus 2. So your input now is not only number, it's m plus 2. This is your object. Okay, or your input is m plus 2. So we sub into the x. We sub in this m plus 2 into the x. And it will become 2. Your x now change to m plus 2, bracket with bracket. Don't forget your bracket. Okay, then minus 5. The bracket is very important because if you don't write bracket, okay, for example 2, the x is m plus 2 minus 5. It will somehow affect your answer because this m plus 2 belongs to the 2. Okay, this m plus 2 here belongs to the 2. So you need to put a bracket so that this 2m and this 2 times 2 become 4. Okay, if without bracket, it will only means 2m plus 2 only. Okay, and which this part is wrong. Okay, so don't forget to put your bracket. So is equals to, okay, you expand it, become 2m plus 4. 4 comes from 2 times 2, and then bring down the negative 5, minus 5. And you simplify it, become 2m minus 1. 4 minus 5 is negative 1. Okay, here you go in terms of m. This is your answer. Okay, and this is your image. Image is 2m minus 1 with an unknown m. Okay, that is what it meant by in terms of m. Part 2. H of 2 minus m. Can you try it yourself? Okay, pause the video and try to do it yourself. Okay, I'll continue this. You pause it and you do, and then you continue with my video and check if your answer is same with mine. Okay, so 2 times 2 minus m minus 5. Okay, we substitute the x with 2 minus m equals to 2 times 2, 4, minus 2 times m, 2m, and then minus 5. Okay, 2 minus m is your object, don't forget that. Or you can say that it's the x. Okay, and then we simplify it. 4 minus 5 is negative 1 minus 2m. Okay, so this is our answer for second part. Is it correct? Well done if it's correct. Okay, part B. Find the value of m if, okay, we have f of m minus plus 2 minus h of 2 minus m and is equals to 16. Okay, this one comes from the first part. Okay, first part, first answer here. Okay, and h of 2 minus m comes from second part. Correct? I mean first part of your answer and second part of your answer. And when you minus them, it's equals to 16. Okay, so your first part, h of m plus 2 is you already get the answer, which is 2m minus 1. I will write down the equation first. Plus 2 minus h of 2 minus m is equals to 16. And h of m plus 2 here is equals to 2m minus 1, right? Okay, from your first part. Minus h of 2 minus m, which is your second part, which you get, don't forget your bracket because it's a negative in front, so it will affect your final answer. Negative 1 minus 2m. Okay, your first part answer and your second part answer. Okay, your first part answer and your second part answer, when they minus together, it's equals to 16. Okay, now we simplify this one and we can find our value of m. Right? So 2m minus 1, negative negative become plus 1, negative negative become plus 2m equals to 16. And we simplify it. 2m plus 2m is 4m. Negative 1 plus 1 is already, this one becomes 0, no more. And bring down equals 16. So m is equals to 16 divided by 4, which is 4. So we found our answer, m equals to 4. Okay, so we have done question number 10. I hope you write it down in your notebook, all this. And that's all for our lesson 7. Okay, so before that, I want you to try okay, we have done our try it 3 already. Okay, try it 3 done. 1 to 4, that's the questions that we discussed today. Okay, 1 to 4 is the question that we discussed today. And question 10 is also the questions that we have discussed today in this lesson. Okay, so I want you to try out question number 5, question number 6, page 72, question number 5, 6, and question number 9. Okay, I'll write down. Okay, try question, or just write homework, page 72 to 73, which is exercise 3.1, question number 5, 6, and 9. Okay, please try this question and I will discuss with you in lesson 8 next week. Okay, thank you everyone. Stay safe and I hope you guys enjoy at home. Okay, we'll meet each other in June, right?